You want to be hardcore, you want to be extreme. Well, if you're like the Sandman, then you're listening to the podcast Drunk Wrestling History, dudes. And please be drunk when you hear it. Peace, I'm out.
I kept Kleenex in business in the late 90s.
Mike Awesome might have fucked Tanaka's wife.
But just say no to this pay-per-view.
Wait, were you making a death joke?
Told you we should have gone to the donkey show.
Stop choking yourself.
It's either death or defecation.
Woo! What's up, Drunk Marks, Drunk Marquettes? Welcome to 205 Jive. I'm your designated host, Adam. They are the Drunk Wrestling Historians.
This is Eddie. Fuck this.
Wow. That's just the beer talking, folks. And this is Scott, educating the masses, one drink at a time.
Do we need to go into why that's the expression? Or we could at least just say there's 3 Broken Skull IPAs in his system.
Yeah, and something happened at the end of the last episode that ruined my recorder, and I don't want to talk about that. And
yeah, we don't want to talk about it. It makes us uncomfortable.
And I guess what, Amazon, you're getting a broken recorder returned to you. Fuck you, Jeff Bezos.
Not pre-owned by R. Kelly. No matter what you smell or think, he did not own this.
Do you think his senses are still going to work? I mean, he's going to space.
It's got nothing to do with that, Adam.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just jump into it. For today's episode, we're taking this back to the year of our Lord, 1998. Between July and August, there was a 16-man tournament. It wasn't wrestling per se. It was a hybrid of wrestling and boxing and other things. This is the Brawl For All.
I don't know why, but I always think it's called Tough Enough. And actually, in my notes, I had it listed as Tough Enough for some reason. I always think it's called that. I don't know why.
Why? Because the punches seemed erratic?
Maybe because no one was tough enough.
Right.
I don't know. But so, yeah, like Adam said, it's 1998. It started the night after King of the Ring 98, which was the famous Mankind and Undertaker Hell in a Cell match. And the weird thing about it, which I forgot till I went back and watched it, I forgot it even started then, but I was watching all those Raw episodes and pay-per-views from 98. And the night after, it just started. There was no hype before it. They didn't announce it beforehand. They were just like, the first match starts, and they're like, this is the Brawl For All. It was really bizarre.
It was the Tough Man tournament we didn't know we needed, but we didn't really need it.
No, nobody needed it.
And then the crowd assured us that it was not needed nor wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but that was kind of one of the interesting things about it, I thought, was sometimes the crowd liked it. Most of the time they hated it, but there were times where the crowd was kind of into it.
Well, they kind of got behind Bart Gunn when he started knocking fools out.
Definitely, yeah, when he started fucking fools up, yeah. So I'm going to quickly run through the matches.
Should we go into the match format?
Okay, yeah, so the match format is it's 3 1-minute rounds.
Yes.
The most hits landed in a round was 1 point, right?
5 points.
5 points.
Yes.
And a takedown was 5 points.
Yes.
So the way
a knockdown is 10.
A knockdown's 10.
Knockdown's 10. Okay, so apart from knocking a dude out, takedowns are definitely the way to get the most points.
Yes, correct.
It was by far. Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing about this was it was an actual shoot fight. Like, this was not wrestling. I heard that, like, I think Vince had to get, like, a boxing promoter's license or some shit like that. Like, there were some, like, legal wranglings.
That makes sense, then.
Yeah, like, so, like, the athletic commissions in the states that they did these shows in were involved and everything. Like, it was completely legit, which is probably its greatest flaw.
Yes.
Like, that's probably what was wrong with it, is that it was a complete shoot. So, like, there's a reason wrestling went from being a shoot back in the 1920s to being a work. And this tournament illustrates very well why that is.
Yeah, like we didn't learn from history, so let's relearn it with the Brawl for All.
Yeah, let's go back. Well, it would have been like 60 years at that point. Let's start over and see what happens. But
Yeah.
so now when it started, what did you think? Because I thought it was actually a really cool idea at the time.
On paper, it's a cool idea, right? Because you've got UFC starting up. That's become a big thing.
Right.
And so, okay, so let's put our guys in the ring and have them legitimately punch the fuck out of each other and see what happens. And I think
Exactly.
X-Pac summed this up best when he said this was a problem because you were presenting the Brawl for All as quote-unquote real.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the shit we were doing in the ring with your sports entertainment was almost presented as fake.
That was actually, at the time, my biggest objection to it, where I was like, you're sort of wink, wink, nod, nod, admitting that everything but these matches are fake.
For the sake of what? Like $100,000? Really? And
Yeah.
you're going to basically tear down this entire institution you've put your life work into building?
Right. Yeah, the idea of it was just really weird. I think this was a Russo idea, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, of course it was a fucking Russo idea.
Of course it was.
So to get into the tournament, Danny Hodge was the referee the first night, which was actually
Oh,
pretty
I didn't
cool.
notice that.
Yeah, and that's the only time it's got to be the only time we've ever seen Danny Hodge on WWE TV, right?
I think you might be right, yeah.
I've seen him a couple times in some old WCW or NWA, but I don't think I've ever seen him in WWE besides this, which
No,
is
I
pretty
think you're
cool.
right.
Yeah, Danny Hodge was known as a shooter, so that was actually kind of cool. So you go. The first match is Mero versus Blackman. It sounded like a pretty cool match because they're both shooters, right? You know, Mero.
Yeah, Mero could box.
Boxing background versus martial arts.
Right,
Exactly.
you're a Golden Gloves guy, and you're like, yeah, Blackman's like a kung fu master.
So whatever it is, this isn't necessarily like, let's just throw wrestlers completely out of their element, even though that's what JR practically says every match. But this opening one seemed like the good one to start.
Yeah, so Mero was kind of getting fucking smoked. He was getting his ass kicked. There were like 12 takedowns, and somehow it...
obliterated him with takedowns.
yeah, but somehow it went to the third... I mean, I guess it went to the third round because he didn't knock him out. But Mero lost by decision, and the crowd shit on it from the first round. The crowd hated this.
Yeah, that can't be good, right? Your first match right out of the gate, and your crowd's like, fuck this.
Yeah, and they were like, let's do this again next week. Like...
Let's keep it going, guys.
Of all the angles they fucking abandoned after a week or two, this was not one of the ones they did.
Yeah, this is like releasing Aleister Black but pushing Riker.
Oh,
Oh, fuck.
damn, that's cold.
The next match, same night, we've got Bradshaw versus Mark Canterbury, who is Phineas.
One of the Godwins.
Yeah. Phineas? He was Phineas.
No,
right?
he was the other one.
Oh, he was Henry.
He was Henry
Right.
Godwin.
Henry O. Godwin.
Henry O. Godwin. Like Wendy O. Williams.
Right, he of the Pigpen match with fucking Triple H.
Right, so you'd think this would be pretty cool because it's two big, strong motherfuckers, right? Two brawlers.
You would think so.
But it was kind of fucking sloppy. It was just two guys that...
Yes.
It was a cat fight or slap fight.
Yeah,
Yes.
like clearly neither of them knew how to fight and possibly had never been in a real fight in their lives. Or maybe they had, but they were not trained fighters, obviously. It was just wild punch after wild punch. Bradshaw landed a lot of hard ones.
I would say Bradshaw was maybe more skilled, but definitely Mark Canterbury wasn't.
Yeah, Canterbury, he got a takedown in the third, but he ended up losing by decision.
And again, on paper, this seems like a really good idea, right? Like,
Totally.
okay, Henry O. Godwin versus Bradshaw in a legit, like, throwing hands match. That sounds interesting on paper. But then in execution, dude, you want to pique my interest, throw Haku in there.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, let's put Haku in there and see what fucking happens.
Well, but we're going to get to Dr. Death, which is who you would think would be the Haku of the tournament.
Well, he was the kind of chosen one in this, right? Like, He was the golden child of this tournament. He was supposed to be the guy.
He was going to be the ringer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you get to the next match. Savio versus Brakkus.
Brakkus.
This is the biggest thing Brakkus ever did. Brakkus, they made him out to be like this monster, and we talked about this on one episode before where...
The Vince Failures episode. We talked about both Brakkus and the Brawl For All in that episode. And if you haven't checked out that episode, check it out in the archives. That would be the Vince Failures episode.
See, we equally shit on everything.
We do. We shit on literally everything.
Yeah.
Savio beat the fuck out of Brakkus. He just fucked him up. He broke his nose. And I'm watching and I'm like, the referee should have stopped the fight because Brakkus could not defend himself. But it's a fucking wrestling referee. It's not a boxing referee.
Yeah.
It's not a guy who's trained to deal with these kind of matches. And Savio ends up winning by decision.
Brakkus totally looks enhanced.
It should have been a TKO.
Yeah.
And is this the last we see of Brakkus? Is he done after this? Like maybe this was like his proving grounds? Like if you're going to stay, you're going to win?
I think so, because I think this is after he'd come back from ECW. Because they brought him in as a monster. Then he, according to what I had heard, OD'd in Tahoe.
Yeah.
Then he went to ECW. Then he came back up for this tournament. Got his ass kicked in the first round, and that was that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, leave, dude.
Also, this is the...
Now
this
I think
is
he
the
sells
first.
I think he sells bratwurst at the metro station in Berlin.
Oh, he's still alive?
As far as I know.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Maybe Virgil sets up tables next to him to sign autographs for $20.
Yeah, Brakkus charges 10. He's trying to undercut Virgil.
This was also the first match where the winner was announced immediately. Didn't have to tally up scores because Savio Vega went to town.
Totally.
Or not really went to town, but Brakkus was clearly not there.
Next match, we've got Hawk versus Draws. Now, I've heard that Hawk was, you kind of could tell that Hawk was not as himself at this point. But I don't know that Hawk could have beat Draws up at 10 years before this. But
he could have. 86 Hawk would have fucked up Draws, dude.
Maybe, but Draws looked pretty good.
Draws did, but
who knows?
86 Hawk would have fucked him right up, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Hawk worked Draws over in the first round, but Draws came back strong in the second. In the third, Hawk's nose is bleeding. It looked like
Draws had young legs, dude. That's why he beat Hawk.
Yeah, totally. His nose looked like it was broken, and both guys were worn the fuck out. And it ended up being a draw.
Mm-hmm.
But Hawk got injured, so Draws advanced.
Yes, which we didn't find out that night. We found out like the next week.
X time later.
A couple weeks later. Yeah.
Also, during this match, King says to JR, like, he's about to explain the rules because it would be, just making sure the crowd's still on the same pace. King goes, you don't need to go over the rules of 5 points for punches and 5 points for a takedown. Just get a KO on your opponent and you win. So
wouldn't we all like that?
So he literally he told JR to not go over the rules while at the same time literally going over 75% of the rules. So
yeah. They should have put Johnny Knoxville in this tournament.
Yeah.
Shit. Is Butterbean okay?
My God.
Bart Gunn and Bob Holly. Not a lot goes on in the first round. Bart was the southpaw, which was he was the only one. He was only lefty in the whole tournament.
You think that threw people off? They were used to watching the right?
I guarantee it did. I'm positive it did. Yeah, totally. I'm sure that was an advantage for him.
Absolutely.
Jack Doan is the referee this week. And in the second round, Bob Holly knew he was fucked. He looked defeated already because he's getting his fucking face punched right up. And he's swinging wild. You know what I mean? Like his punches are not really, he doesn't swing like a boxer, but he hits fucking hard is the whole thing. Like he was not a skilled fighter. He just hit harder than everybody else.
He just needed to land one.
Right, exactly.
That's what it seemed like. I think even watching this, I thought that he had the best knowledge of the fundamentals. Maybe not in execution, maybe a different story, but he knew about get your hands up for defense. And he was also absorbing a lot of body jabs. And yeah, a lot of his, when he would attack, maybe they weren't straightforward, but he was still landing a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Does anybody else feel bad for Bart at this point? Like, Billy Gunn is part of a very successful tag team with Road Dogg. Like, they're massive as the New Age Outlaws, and here's fucking Bart Gunn slugging away in the ring in some shitty fucking tournament.
Yeah, totally.
What a horrible situation for him, dude. Horrible. And this is a no-win because they already want Steve Williams to win. Like, Dr. Death is the chosen one.
Right.
Like, this is a no-win situation for Bart Gunn.
Yeah. So Bart wins by decision. Bob Holly like tries to fight him after the match, which was actually cool. Like, Bob Holly's like, "This is wrestling. Fuck it. I'm gonna brawl a guy after the match and fucking get my heat back."
Like, hey, dude, take an Alabama Slam for me.
But that's another thing. They kept emphasizing, like, this is a hybrid of wrestling and boxing. Well, if there is wrestling elements, how are you supposed to do basic grapples and holds while you got those big fucking gloves in your hands?
Or better yet, how
that's
is
the
somebody
problem.
supposed to follow this that's actually wrestling? Like,
Yeah.
doing sports entertainment. How do you follow this and have that explained? That's bullshit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like how do you do an Irish whip after this?
Right, I'm just going to quote Jim Cornette. This was the dumbest fucking thing WWE has ever done. End quote.
Yeah, that's probably true. Next match, Dan Severn of MMA fame versus Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine.
On paper, Dan Severn wins this, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to beat Dan Severn that's in this fucking pool?
Right, because he's a legit shoot fighter. Like
Yes, exactly.
So at this point, he had won. I think he won UFC 2, if I remember right.
I think he was also NWA champion, maybe, while this was going on.
Yeah, he might have
He
been.
was champion in another promotion.
Yeah. Severn was no joke.
Yeah, he
but
had credentials to do this shit.
But in the first round, he was struggling against Kama. Kama's punching the fuck out of him. He gets like
Godfather was no joke, dude.
Yeah, he gets a half-ass takedown on him. Then the second round, he takes him down, but he won't let him go because he's clearly trying to run the clock down because he knows that Godfather's got him in punches. Like, he knows that Godfather can punch him enough times to win by points.
Yeah, so he's going for takedown points now.
Yeah, so this was definitely the worst fight. The crowd's shitting all over it. Severn's staying close so he can't get hit.
This is the match where the crowd is chanting, "We want wrestling."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give us the fake shit.
Yeah, exactly. Severn ends up winning by decision. Terrible fucking match.
Awful, dude.
Yeah. Then we go into the last match of that. No, the second to last match of that.
Second to last.
Pierre versus Dr. Death. Which is fantastic because you're like, everything you've ever heard was true, that they expected Dr. Death to win. And they put him up against, they're like, oh, he could totally beat Pierre, right? He's French.
Yeah.
Like, they think he's a pussy because he's from, like, Montreal.
Right. This is motherfucking PCO.
Yeah, exactly. Did Pierre have a fucked up eye for real?
Yes, he did.
Okay, because he came in with the eye patch, and I was like, you don't wear an eye patch in a boxing match or, a shoot fight.
Right. No, it was legit, dude. He has a fucked up eye.
Doc had a stance like he'd never thrown a punch before. You know what I mean? Like, he stood there, like, really weird. Like, he definitely was not, like, I know that he's, like, a legit tough guy who could fuck you up, but not by punching you. He did not know. He didn't look like he knew what he was doing. But he fucked Pierre right up. Pierre was done in the second round. He got a standing 8 count, and then he was saved by the bell. And in the third round, the ref stopped the fight in the third round. This is the first match the crowd actually liked.
It's also the first one that does not last the complete 3 rounds, ref calls it.
Yeah. Last round, 8-Ball versus Scorpio. This was a dark match. This was not even on Raw.
No.
They're beating the fuck out of each other for real in a dark match.
Yeah, they put 8-Ball versus Scorpio in a dark match because nobody gave a shit about either of them. And after watching that Dark Side of the Ring about the Korea show where Scorpio was about to kill Hawk, I was like, man, that would have been pretty cool if he fashioned a shiv in this match. You go all the way to the tournament finals with a sharpened toothbrush.
Too cold shank.
Yeah. So then we go to the second round. First match, Bart versus Doc. Doc knew that Bart could throw a punch. You could tell because he kept him close. And in the first, not a lot went on. Second round, Bart took Doc down through the ropes. And when Doc came back in, you could see that he was fucked up. His leg was fucked up. He was like limping. Like you could tell he couldn't really move his leg around, and that was kind of it. Like that, he was out of Bart won, and Doc was done after that. And that was like the thing where like nobody thought that was going to happen, and that was where it was like, holy shit, Bart Gunn. Because even like as a fan, you know, like not part of the company, you're watching this, you're like, obviously Dr. Death's going to fuck everyone up.
Right, and that was mostly because of JR. Like, JR totally put Dr. Death over as like a legitimate tough guy.
You're right, because I knew who he was. I knew he was a big deal in Japan. I'd seen like a match of him here and there, but I didn't know that much about him. But going into it, I was like, oh yeah, he's a motherfucker. Like, he's definitely the guy who's going to win this shit. But that's exactly why, because of JR. JR made him out to be that guy.
Well, and also, if word on the street is to be believed, Dr. Death was given his 100K even before the Pierre match.
So
like, he was going to be the guy. Like, they just paid him ahead of the whole tournament.
So JR in his book said that Dr. Death claimed to have been given his $100,000 before it.
Oh, so that's not true.
He said, yeah, exactly. He said he wasn't paid for that because it was a legit tournament. You had to win it to win the 100K. But Dr. Death was claiming he had already been paid.
Okay.
And I think it was him trying to fucking, you know, get into people's heads. You know, trying to convince people, like, it was obviously the company knows I'm going to win because they pay me already because I'm going to win. That kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
But he said that was Dr. Death just working the locker room.
Okay, gotcha.
Next match, Scorpio.
Also, that was the only second round match that featured the proper first round winners. Both first round winners.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
next
people
match
had to pull out.
Godfather Scorpio.
That's the respectful thing to do. You get consent.
Godfather and Scorpio in the next match. Severn dropped out, so Kama advanced. And at this point, during this time, he became known as the Godfather. So he was Kama in the first round. By the time they got to the second round, he was called the Godfather.
And he had the power of the strippers.
Yes, he did. And he brought the hose out and he offered him to Scorpio. So now it's becoming wrestling.
Right.
The hybrid.
Now we've got the Carney gimmick involved.
Right. Yeah. The match was basically exactly what you'd expect. Bunch of punches. Godfather won. That's kind of that. Next match.
That's all it was.
Next match. Draws versus Savio. Kind of a shitty first round. Second round, Draws got a hard takedown and kind of dominated his ass. And he fucked him up pretty good at the end. And the crowd liked this match a lot. Draws won. Next match.
Oh, it practically is, yeah.
Next match, Mark Merrow versus Bradshaw.
Steve Blackman is injured.
Yeah.
And withdraws.
Yeah, they put Mark Merrow back in because Blackman got hurt. Mark Merrow actually really outworked and outpunched Bradshaw, but Bradshaw was like smothering him. You know what I mean? He'd get him in the corner and like get a ball in his face. It was just too much of a size difference. Like, Merrow was clearly the more skilled fighter in this match. Bradshaw was just way too big for him. Okay, good.
Oh.
It was a draw after three. They added a round, and the crowd shit on it. They were like, no, dude, we do not want a fourth round. Bradshaw won the fourth, but it totally should have been a tie, and I guess they should have gone to a fifth round. But they were just, I think the judges were, fuck, dude, we got a commercial coming up.
Also, they're listening to the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
Commercial worthy, really?
Yeah, then we get to the third round. We got Godfather versus Bart. Kind of a shitty fight. Bart ends up fucking up Godfather.
Okay, so at this point, I want to just kind of pause.
Go ahead.
And point out that the legitimate injuries in this tournament.
Okay.
Dr. Death, Hawk, Steve Blackman, Savio Vega, Godfather, and Brakkus all received legitimate injuries that cost them time from this tournament.
And we're just getting into the third round.
Exactly. Thank you. So all your names are eliminated, so I wanted to throw those names out that they all up to this point received legitimate injuries and could not continue, be it with the fake shit or the real shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, that's stupid.
It is. It really was. It was fucking terrible. Fucking
Yeah,
Russo,
to serve
dude.
no purpose and to go down in history as one of the worst decisions, or as Cornette said, the dumbest fucking thing WWE ever did.
And fucking Russo to this day defends this.
What an asshole.
It was great,
You
bro.
can't defend this.
Just
Look, feelings
Bro.
about Russo aside, this was a dumb fucking idea. On
Bro.
paper, cool.
Bro, it was great TV, bro. It was like the Jerry Springer show, bro.
Look, you better be careful, dude. Russo fanatics, they'll come at you.
Yeah, whatever.
And they don't play.
Yeah,
I'm just warning you.
Yeah, we got drunk wrestling fanatics. Fuck Russo.
I'm not picking a side over the other. I'm just saying this was a horrible fucking idea.
It was terrible. So,
Terrible.
So Bart won that match. Then we got Droz versus Bradshaw. They split the first 2 rounds, and the crowd actually liked it because it was a lot of fucking hard punches. You know, just like bam, bam, bam. Bradshaw fought dirty again in the next round, and he's holding Droz on the ropes to run the clock down. And he's just he's kind of fighting like a bitch. And as a result, he wins by decision.
Apparently, he's a shoot fighting god as well.
Yeah. So
precursor
for the final,
to JBL.
Yes.
So for the final, we got Bradshaw versus Bart. And before they start the match, when they're doing the announcing, I noticed JBL had his face lubed up so much. You notice that? Oh, he
Multiple
was like,
finishes by Ron Simmons.
oh, fuck.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was like-
damn.
Yeah, it was like, I was so glad he brought that gigantic tube of lube.
It was like he walked out of lemonparty.org.
Yeah. Bart fucking killed his ass early. Dropped him. He got a standing 8, and he was so fucked up the match should have been stopped right then.
I don't think he was even aware. I think just trying to stand still, maybe his head just bounced forward to look like, yes, I could go.
Yeah, the referee had to ask him. The referee asked him twice if he was okay, and I was like, man, this is really irresponsible, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like he could have been seriously hurt, but they were
Yeah,
trying.
at this
to,
point, you need like a UFC ref.
Yeah,
or like Danny
exactly.
Hodge.
Danny Hodge should have been back. Yeah, but they were trying to have a good match, and Bart just fucked his ass up so much early on. Like the ref didn't know what to do. He's like, "Fuck! we got to go longer. Like we can't have the final of this be like 10 seconds." But Bradshaw was fucked. Bart ended up winning.
Okay, look,
KO.
let's just pause and like kind of rewrite history a little bit.
Go ahead.
Imagine they let it go even longer,
Okay.
and Bart permanently injures JBL. How that changes the course of history for WWF.
Oh shit! Yeah, because JBL was a major player when you get into the ruthless aggression era.
Even
Right, from like the APA all the way to the Wrestling God angle, up until he retired in 2009, like he was the dude.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
He was a major player. Like, and if he loses his career at this point for this stupid fucking tournament, how that rewrites history like he's never given his shot, that would suck because we'd be robbed of what was the JBL character, and that would be bullshit all because of this fucking tournament.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about it that way. You're totally right.
It was completely irresponsible on WWE's part. Again, great idea on paper, but in execution, they should have realized week 1, this is a clusterfuck, guys. Like, let's
Yeah.
cut bait now. We can cut this angle and nobody's going to remember a thing years to come, but now we remember it because you stretched it out. And then your winner went on to do what?
So JR says, like, all right, Bart Gunn wins. He's got a great future, whether with wrestling or with boxing. Well, Butterbean happens. That's his boxing future.
Yeah, so you go to WrestleMania 15 and you have one of the worst beatings. That's got to be the worst beating of all time at WrestleMania, right?
Here's the thing. I would rather watch Big Show's ass from WrestleMania 21 for 5 minutes than to watch that Butterbean Bart Gunn match.
Oh, not me.
Horrible.
I love that match.
Fuck that, dude. You knew exactly what was going to happen. Because now you're putting your untrained fighter against a trained professional boxer.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool, though, because it was like a science experiment. Like, what would happen if, like, if a human being's head is, like, hit by a truck? You know what
I mean? Yes, exactly.
Like, that's what it was like.
Exactly.
It was kind of cool to see, like, what would happen to a person in that situation.
Oh, my God. What a disaster.
So they did the Dark Side of the Ring, and Bart Gunn was like, I got punished because fucking Dr. Death was the fucking golden child, and I beat him.
Yeah, it was a no-win situation for Bart, dude.
I don't believe that for 1 second. And
I do. There was no winning for him because what was the end result? Your prize is you get to go to have a WrestleMania match with fucking Butterbean? Did you see what he did in Johnny Knoxville? Come on, dude.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Also,
like that was the payoff.
I could have missed it during the second and third rounds, but I think it was right before that final match. That's when I found out, okay, there was actually $100,000 worth of collective prizes for this.
But I understand he only collected 75.
Yeah, 75 to the winner, 25 to the loser.
Yeah.
Oh. But look, Bart was in probably the number 2 match of that year at WrestleMania.
The number 2 match?
Number 3. You know what I mean? He was like one of the featured matches at 15.
Okay, but still, like, he's kind of become a laughingstock, dude.
No,
like,
I know.
Butterbean whooped his ass.
Right. I mean, the match shouldn't have happened, but he got a big fucking payday. And I think they thought that he probably could do okay against him. Jim Ross in his book said that they definitely thought Doc was going to win. And he said it definitely didn't help that Doc was telling people backstage that he already got paid to win. But he said they absolutely did not punish Bart Gunn. And I totally believe that because you don't... I totally believe him because why would you punish someone who made himself a star? It doesn't make sense. You can get a lot more money out of it. Dude, you think they couldn't have got...
If you become a star, you got companies fighting for you.
The idea was for Doc to get one last run as a wrestler and work with Austin for a few months. Right. They could have gotten a lot more mileage out of Bart Gunn at that point than they ever could have at Doc. Bart could have gone another 15 fucking years. Or Bart could have. But he got, his ass kicked by Butterbean. But, like, why wouldn't you run with that? I think they fucked up. I think putting him against Butterbean was a mistake, but I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was set up. Or I don't think he was being punished. You don't punish a guy by putting him in a match like that where you're going to pay him $100,000 or whatever he got paid.
But what did Bart Gunn have to gain? You knew there was no way Bart Gunn was going to defeat Butterbean.
Payday?
What was the best case scenario coming out of that?
Interference.
Best case scenario.
That's it.
Yeah, a run-in by Billy Gunn.
That would have had to been it.
No, I mean, best case scenario, he could have, like, not lost in dramatic fashion. Like, he could have lost the way Logan Paul did to Mayweather. You know what I mean? He could have done okay against him.
There's no way that was going to happen, dude.
If you want to punish a guy, you just fire him. You job him out and then fire him. You didn't have to give him a WrestleMania match to punish him. So I don't think that to me doesn't make any sense. You don't punish a guy that way by putting him in a big match on WrestleMania.
I don't know. In my mind, you win the tough enough like that.
There's innovative ways.
Yeah, that establishes you as a legitimate tough guy. Put him back into the quote-unquote fake shit. Yeah. And start giving him wins over... You make him a monster and have him start defeating jobbers like they built Braun Strowman over the years with beating multiple jobbers. Like, why couldn't they have done that and actually built him into a legitimate quote-unquote fake sports entertainer?
Lack of charisma? I guess. I don't know.
But I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Because maybe that could have developed over time. Like, he could have developed, like, a persona.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that he would have become, like, Brock Lesnar or even Braun Strowman, but, like, you give him wins over jobbers and then you start giving him...
Yeah.
Like, maybe a B-plus level career run. You get Intercontinental belt, maybe some heavyweight shots.
Oh, you mean the career of Billy Gunn, his partner in the Smoking Guns?
There you go.
I mean,
that guy didn't have to put his fucking career on the line in these stupid shoot fights.
Right.
And he was shot to the moon. Meanwhile, Bart Gunn gets his ass whooped at a WrestleMania.
And that was that.
And that was that. Exactly. Like, that was his career. It was done.
Yeah.
Whereas Billy Gunn has gone on to be a Hall of Famer.
That's true.
And,
yeah.
And that to me is sad. Like, I think that they did him dirty after he won the Tough Enough tournament. I think that they did him dirty. They should have put him back in the quote-unquote fake shit and at least tried to build him from that. And if it didn't work out, fuck, you release him at that point. At least you tried. But throw him into the ring with Butterbean, feeding him to the wolves.
Yeah. So who do you think should have won this?
I don't think it ever should have happened.
Okay. So here's the way I looked at it. This was right after King of the Ring 98, right?
Okay.
Shamrock won King of the Ring. I thought
Shamrock didn't want to be a part of it, though.
I know, but same as Severn, because Severn dropped out.
Yeah.
I thought Shamrock should have been the guy, and they should have done whatever they had to do to talk him into it.
You start scripting it, right?
I mean, I don't know how they would have talked him into it, but I think Shamrock would have been. Imagine if Shamrock had won this instead of King of the Ring. I think that would have been way cooler for him.
Or if he won both, that becomes your heavyweight champion.
Dude, that would have been fucking awesome.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
that's your
Tough Enough
push.
apparently is a disaster with all these fucking injuries going on.
Yeah.
Make it sports entertainment at that point and start scripting it. Guys are going to go along with that. They're used to being scripted, and you have
That's true.
Shamrock win that as well. Boom, you've got a heavyweight champion on your hands.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Totally. Or even Severn, like, that would have changed the trajectory of his WWE career.
Not Severn.
Okay, yeah, fuck Severn, you're right.
Yeah.
Talk about a charisma vacuum. That guy's worse than Diana Hart.
Oh my god. But overall, I liked it. Actually, I'm one of the few people who liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was a complete disaster.
Different.
That's exactly why I liked it. It was different. I remember when it was happening, I was kind of looking forward to it every week because it was like, you knew it was real. You knew that anything could happen. It was kind of cool. It was exciting.
I think,
Okay.
like,
But overall, it probably was the dumbest thing WWE ever did. They spent thousands of dollars in medical bills. They made 0 stars, and they took a lot of guys off the road. You know?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Big
I think
fuck up.
X-Pac had the perfect summation of this, as I mentioned earlier. I can't say it any better myself. X-Pac nailed it.
Go ahead. What did he say?
What X-Pac said, and let me read it. The company pushed this as real, and everything else that the viewers were watching was bullshit.
Totally. Yeah.
And that completely wraps up this tournament, the Brawl For All.
Crap.
Yeah.
so throughout the entire thing, JR and King keep saying these are wrestlers out of their element. First off, want to direct it back at them because JR and King are not boxing announcers. So
Right.
I would say they were out of their element. Maybe a precursor for them when they were calling XFL matches.
I was just going to say, they're not boxing announcers, they're XFL announcers.
Yeah, pretty much. But also, like, just something to bring wrestlers out of their element. This was a bad way of doing it. You know, like, 1998, you're 2 years away from the reality show boom. Like, I think they probably just didn't realize it then, but it was so much better once that happened. You get the Hardy Boys and Lita and Molly doing Fear Factor. You get Booker T, Stephanie, and Triple H doing Weakest Link. Now you get, like, even though the show's canceled, you got Kofi and Austin doing Double Dare. That's out of the element, and that shit's entertaining.
And you've got Tough Enough.
And
that
Tough
debuted around
Tough
that same
Enough.
time.
Exactly.
So maybe this was a precursor to Tough Enough.
Yeah. Good call.
But look, I think we spent 40 minutes too long on this episode.
I think we spent 20 minutes too long.
Okay, I would agree with that.
All right, let's
At
wrap
least we
this
got
up.
to educate the listeners, if you will.
Yes, exactly. All right, let's wrap this up.
Well
Adam.
done, guys.
We got one more to do tonight.
All right, in that case, that takes care of Brawl For All. Who was the winners of this? Aside from Bart Gunn, who won, but wasn't really the winner of this. But let us know what you think on the social media platforms, and please leave us reviews on all the podcasting platforms. Definitely love to hear your input. And that pretty much takes care of it. With Scott and with Eddie, I'm Adam, reminding you to please continue your safety protocols. Enjoy your buzz, watch wrestling responsibly, drink like nobody is watching. We will see you next week for another fun episode. 1, 2, 3, he's out! Oh,
Dive.
Is Butterbean okay?